I added that to my prospecting time, and that alone completely took our company that was kind of like struggling right here to just going like that. And I fell in love with the lives, and now I told all my sales force, you guys should be doing a live every day. Hey guys, welcome back to Driven Channel, and I'm very excited here to be with this individual. You were in town, we connected, and I'm like, man, I told you a little bit, but I've been studying you for like in the past, I would say 8 months or so. I've been looking at all your videos because I've been really right now solving for my businesses marketing. Like, how do we scale? How do we market more? The different companies, and I studied a lot of Tai Lopez, and then that led me to Neil Patel. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah.
Neil Patel. So you're huge, Neil, and it was crazy that we just like I've been wanting to connect with you. I send you a DM, and then you DM me back. Then you explain to me, oh, that was probably not really me, but when I went to the event yesterday, I saw you. You're the first person I saw, and I'm like, wait, I know that guy. And I believe in always, when you go to a room, there's always a lot of people, and there's always like that one or two people you want to meet in that room. And you were that person, but you happened to land right in front of me. So we started talking, and I'm just very excited. I want to pick your brain. I know you work with a lot of big brands. I think you're the biggest out there that helps big brands. Like the such of, I have this brand here that I wrote down, that's Adobe and Cisco and brands of that stature. So what is it that Neil got you into that space, and who is Neil, for those people that haven't heard about Neil Patel?
Sure. And I wish we were the biggest. We're actually probably one of the smallest.
Really?
Yes, because like some of our competitors do like 14, 15 billion dollars a year in revenue.
Yeah.
So we're really tiny compared to the large corporations out there. Some of them employ like 60, 100,000 plus employees. Big market. We've been doing this for 5 years now. And yeah, I've been doing marketing since I was 16 now, 15 and a half, 16, somewhere around there. So call it 21 years. I'm 37.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been enjoying it ever since, just helping people grow their traffic online.
I went back to your old videos where you had hair.
Yeah, I had hair at one point.
Yeah. I saw those videos. But one thing that I like to follow and learn from people that have done it that have a track record. You have a track record, like you've been doing that for the longest. And
yes.
And what do you think? Like, why are you one of the smallest? Because I didn't know that. But how are you one of the smallest? You've been doing it for a long time, but you have big companies. I don't want to mention any other names, unless you want to mention some big companies. I know that you mentioned Coca-Cola online somewhere and big companies, but what kind of big companies do you work with? Or correct me if I'm wrong with Coca-Cola, but what companies do you work with and you have helped scale their businesses?
Sure. So we don't work with Coca-Cola right now, but you got like the Cisco's, the Adobe's, the Western Unions, the ESPNs, the CNNs, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Accor Hotels, Mitsubishi, the car company. The list goes on, like Hewlett-Packard. There's most of the companies we work with tend to be larger Fortune 1000 companies. Most of them are publicly traded, or some of them are divisions of other companies. Like we work with Tata, but Tata owns Range Rover or Land Rover. I don't know which one it is. Mm-hmm. Same thing. One's a car company name. They own Jaguar. They own Taj Hotels. They own a lot of the transportation industry in India. Tata is one of the biggest consulting companies for outsourcing in the world. I think they have massive contracts with like Apple, etc. But so we either work with large brands or subsidiaries of those large brands.
Yeah. And right now with the economy the way it is, with entering a recession or in a recession, a lot of people I seen they've been cutting on what they're spending.
Yep.
And marketing could get expensive. So right now, what are you seeing from companies with their with the amount of money they're spending in marketing? Are they cutting it? Are they spending more?
Oh, they are. They're cutting it. We're seeing cuts across the board. Even if they're not cutting themselves, because other companies are cutting, it's getting cheaper for them. So if everyone's bidding on Google ads or Facebook ads and 10% of your competitors cut their spend, it becomes cheaper for you because you're not having to pay as much for the same inventory, because it's a bidding war, right? When other people cut, even if you're still willing to spend, it gets cheaper for you from a cost per click basis or a cost per impression basis.
So what do you say right now, if you have some money, is it a good time to go out there and maybe double on what you were spending before because of the competition?
As long as you can keep making it profitable, yes, you should continually try to grow and reinvest. So for example, we met literally yesterday, and when I met you, I could tell whether it's a good economy or a bad economy, you have really big dreams, and you're not going to let anything stand in your way of your dreams. Like I'm not saying you're going to break the law, but you're going to do whatever it takes to really hit them. You're going to work 12, 13, 14-hour days if you need to. You're going to work 7 days a week. You'll still be there for your family, but you're just one of those guys that's driven, and you will try to conquer anything that gets in your way, and you're going to try to defeat it if you already haven't.
Yeah.
And when I look at that, even in this economy, talking with your staff, because I'm here in your office, beautiful offices, by the way.
Thank you.
When I was here, they're like, yeah, we're continuing recruiting new agents. Yeah, we're looking at new territories. Like, they were talking to me about different states and stuff like that. During bad economies, other people cut back. It's actually cheaper for businesses to expand right now than any other time. Expanding in a good economy is expensive because a lot of people are spending. And anything, not just marketing, right? There's always more competition in a good economy. A bad economy, a lot of people get cut back. They don't have the fundings. This is the time to spend, because this is when you can gobble up market share. And then when things start recovering, you'll start seeing explosive growth.
Yeah, and thank you for that, by the way. I feel the same way. I think the energy just kind of clicked, and a big thing about that is networking. How important is networking? Because you are very well connected. You know a lot of people. You speak in different parts of the world. So I saw you were doing a podcast with a person from India, and like, but I've seen you like that's just one example, but you are everywhere. And so how important is networking for any business owner to do?
It's super important. So I'll give you a great example. I did a podcast. I've done a few podcasts with people in India. I was at a dinner in Dubai, I think a month and a half ago, and I met someone from India there. And he worked for a guy, I believe his name was Mukesh Ambani, one of the richest guys in India, if not the richest guy in India. He was the CEO or led their cell phone company. I think it was called Jio. Bootstrapped. The founder was already a billionaire, but bootstrapped with him. And he was just like, it was the fastest growing startup ever. And he said he went from 0 to $100 billion valuation in 5 years, which is kind of ridiculous to go from 0 to $100 billion. What they did in India was, he said, hey, we're going to take cell phones and we're just going to make it cheaper than everyone else. And then eventually, as they gobbled up the market share, they started increasing pricing, but they started pushing smartphones. In India, back in the day, smartphones weren't as popular. So like, we're going to make smartphones and data transfer really affordable, so that way everyone can have it. And their cell phone company exploded, and they're pretty much, if I'm not mistaken, the largest carrier in India, which has a population of over 1 billion people. Massive, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I led that company. I was pretty much running it as the CEO. And he's like, I'm really well connected in there. So met him through a dinner, got to that dinner because of a podcast interview. And he's like, let me introduce you to some other brands that we own, because he's like, we help bring companies like Express or Guess or Ralph Lauren or whatever it may be. I'm making up clothing brand names now because I don't know all of them, but they're big ones. And he's like, we bring them to India. We would love to work with you. All because of networking, right? So it's, whether it's a podcast interview or whether it's just saying hi or hello to people at conferences, or getting to know people when they ask for a picture, you don't know where that leads you. It doesn't matter if someone is starting off or someone is super successful. Networking is super important because you don't know what doors it can open up.
Yeah, when you go to networking events or when you give talks, do you have a sort of way you go to people or people you talk to? Like, how do you select? I'm in this conference. I'm gonna stick around for a few hours.
Yeah.
How do you know who to talk to and who to not talk to? Because I notice some people when they network, they try to talk to every single person in the room. And then there's some people that are just very strategic. They're like, I'm going to talk to this person, that person, and this person. Do you do your homework or do you know, or are you just a friendly guy?
I'm a friendly guy. I tend not to do my homework, but it's a little bit different now because I've been doing this for 20 plus years. So for us, as we talked about a little bit earlier, our ideal customer is a Fortune 1000 company.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where they are in the world. It's a large corporation in essence. So when I usually go to a conference, I'll have the conference set up one-on-one meetings with their attendees in exchange for me going. I used to charge for speaking. We talked about that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't care for speaking revenue. What I care for is the right meetings. So I want the meetings with Coca-Cola or L'Oreal. So great example of this, I came back from Rio less than a week ago. The conference there helped me set up meetings with Michelin, the tire company. They're one of their biggest life insurance company in Brazil. I forgot what the name was. They also, their version of eBay, it was a really big marketplace down there. And there was a few other brands like that, right? So in essence, they're getting me in the room with the right type of businesses. Another one was one of their biggest pharmaceutical companies in Brazil, right? Everyone has medicine that they need throughout the whole world. So for me, that's the ideal way. When I go to an event now, I just say hi and hello to anyone who has questions, anyone who I can help out, or anyone who's around that I can have an interesting conversation with. I don't care if they're rich or poor, or if they have $1 million car or $100 million house. All I care about is just meeting good people, learning from them, and providing value where I can, because I believe that you can learn from anyone. And the biggest thing for me in life that I really want is just to learn more. So for example, when I came into your office, talking with your team, learning what you're doing and how you're vertically integrating everything, it's really cool. I don't see tons of stuff in the real estate industry, right? But how you're recruiting agents, how you're giving talks to motivate them, how you're using your personal brand to bring in people, how you're doing your trainings, how you have different parts of your business, how you're also not just motivating people to join you and training them to do better, but you're helping them with all aspects of their life. You have a gym here. Mm-hmm. You also have restrooms here for both men and women where they can get, clean up, get a massage. You have a little massage table as well. Yeah. You're helping people in all aspects of their life. You even have a kids room. Yeah. It's not just about, hey, come here and make money.
Showers too, showers.
Yeah, you have showers. You're building a community, and you're building a family, not just blood family, but everyone in your organization, from what I can tell already from the culture. And even though it's a Friday and a lot of people are out and about and hustling and going to making deals, you can tell that you have that sense of culture. That's cool. I'm learning how you're doing things, right? Not everyone does what you're doing and cares that much about their team. That's a really cool aspect of your business.
Yeah, and I learned that, I was telling you that I invest a lot into mentorships, and I learned this because I went to visit some billion-dollar companies, and I noticed that their headquarters had all of this. Yeah. In a different way, but most of those big companies, they move outside of California and they have their corporate office somewhere else, which is probably going to be one of our next moves. But I always wanted to be here in this area because I like Sunset Plaza. Yep. I like this area. I love this area. I used to drive through this area every day when I was a painter with my dad, because my dad used to paint homes in Beverly Hills, the Flats and Bel Air. So we used to drive from the ghetto, all Sunset, take all Sunset, and we used to drive through this office every single day. So I always wanted to be here, and one of my favorite shows was Entourage. They were always here on Sunset Plaza.
I've seen all the episodes.
That's
great.
Yeah. So I wanted to be here. It was my dream to be here on Sunset Plaza. I always thought Sunset Plaza was like the best, and I still think it's the best. So that's why we are here, even though we do business all over California and now Florida. But I always wanted to be here. Now, I know that in order to have a powerful company, I visited First Form, Andy Frisella. I visited Patrick's company that he sold, and they all had the same things, like the gym, the bar, the kids room, the training centers, like all of this. So that's where I got that idea from. Now, going back, Neil, to you, is you seem like a person that just gives.
But before you go back to me, what's really cool is you and your dad were painting the homes in Beverly Hills and the flats, or in Bel Air, and you would see these office spaces. You not only eventually end up getting the office space you dreamed about and you wanted, you also had a home in Truesdale at one time, right? And then now you're in Bel Air. Like, just think about for the minute, how amazing is that? You know, you accomplished a lot of your goals. You know, you probably accomplished all of them, and then you had to create new goals.
Yeah.
At such an early age.
Yeah.
That's amazing to think about.
Yeah.
And you came from painting. Yeah. Did you go to school?
I was I had a 1.8 GPA, college dropout. I was always a dumb kid.
You're not dumb. It was just energy was spent in the wrong areas, and you finally found your calling. But look at what you accomplished. You didn't go to Harvard. Funny enough, you probably do better than a lot of the people who have graduated from Harvard or Stanford, all those places. And you've built an amazing team. And a lot of your team members are now successful, and their lives are changing for them and their family as well. Like, that's just crazy to think about. Like, just in perspective, right?
Yeah. Well, you're making me now blush and throwing so much love at me, but I really appreciate that. I think me and you relate a lot because we're around the same age. Now you're making me feel old because I'm 40, you're 37.
We're pretty much the same age.
But I always believed, I don't know if you're this way, but I always believed that I wanted to be successful young. I never wanted a lot of mentors, they'll say, pay the price now so you could play later. I never believed that. I always believed that you could pay the price now as you play now also. Like, I wanted to play now and pay the price now. But I believe in hard work. Like, we talked about long hours, working. But I'm the type of person that I work hard, but then when I travel, like, I'll travel with my family. I'll take my kids, my wife. We do everything together. But I've enjoyed life young. I've achieved a lot of my dreams young. And I also paid the price young, and I also made a lot of mistakes young. But I like that feeling because I don't want to be that person I never wanted to be that 60-year-old that had a hot young girlfriend and that could barely get in and out of their car.
And then young kids, and then you don't see the grandkids.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So, and I know there's a lot of different scenarios, but that's why I did this, and I wanted to take risks young. Because I've seen some people that they're a little older and they take a risk, they lose. It's hard for them to bounce back. And I knew if I was young and I made a mistake, I could bounce back because I knew I could make money tomorrow. But Neil, you seem like that person that gives, like really good person. And I think that's also the reason why a lot of success has came to you. Is that something that you always want to help first and then receive, or?
So when I was young and I was starting off, and I had a lot of ups and downs when I was younger. I was making good money by the time I was 16. By the time I was 21, I lost most of it, if not all of it, and then I had to make it all back. And a lot of people mentored me and helped me out and invested in me. And when the time came when I started doing well and I tried to give them money, they didn't care for it. They just said, go help other people. And when I started helping other people, it truly made me feel fulfilled inside.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger, I had dreams. I always wanted to buy stuff. So a great example of this is I used to collect watches. And my first watch was a Panerai. Funny enough, I'm still wearing it right now. And then I wanted fancier watches. Then it became Breguets. Then it became Pateks. And then it became multiple Pateks. And I still have, I think, all of my watches. I've given some of them away to some of my friends. But it was never ending. Then I wanted a home, then a nicer home. And then it kept growing and growing. And at one time, before I was even married, I owned a 3,000 square foot condo overlooking the Las Vegas Strip. But I was by myself. Why do I need all that space for one person? And I realized that buying these things, there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
It was never fulfilling. I kept wanting more and more, and it ended up becoming where I would buy like a new paddock, and I was happy for a day or an hour, and I was like, all right, what's next? It was literally never ending. But then when I started helping other people out, it truly made me fulfilled inside. And I stopped looking at it's a donation, and I started looking at it as this investment.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of investment can I make into the future of this planet, this world, other people, and seeing their lives improve by giving them some money really made me happy. And I met my wife, and when I met her, she was volunteering at soup kitchens. We got introduced through a mutual friend, but we had a lot of the same beliefs. She's like, why do you work so hard? I was like, I want to donate everything. And she was just like, my goal in life is to volunteer. I don't enjoy volunteering as much. I think it's an inefficient use of my time. I think it's better to make the money and then use the capital.
Yeah.
And she loves being on the ground, spending her time with people and seeing the impact that she's making. So we believe that we were meant to be. We're extremely happy even still today. And that's why we keep doing it. I don't believe my kids need more. I was going to Rio, and when I was going to Rio a week ago, my daughter's like, bring me back a toy. And I told her name's Emma. There's a lot of kids who live in the favelas, which are their versions of the poor areas.
Yeah.
And I was saying, what about those kids there? She's like, okay. She's like, you buy 10 toys, Dad. Give them 9. Give me 1. I came back with 0 toys for her. We did end up giving toys and school supplies and books and things like that to people there who were in need. And that kind of stuff makes me happy. I didn't get to see it. More so wrote a check. Someone bought stuff, filled up a truck, and went to go and deliver it. But I believe my kids don't need much. I'll give them the tools they need to be successful, but they can go earn it on their own. They'll never have to live on the street. I'll, of course, provide basic necessities if they need it and they can't provide it. But I believe the money is better suited to help out other people.
Yeah. And how many kids do you have?
2.
2 kids. What's the age?
1 and 3. They're young.
1 and 3. So then you said Rio. Is that Rio de Janeiro in Brazil?
Yeah.
So when you, and I know you travel a lot. When you travel for work, do you take your family with you, or do you go by yourself?
I used to take them when they were a little bit younger.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays I mainly go by myself because the kids are in school. The 1-year-old isn't, but the 3-year-old is. So we don't want to take her out too much. But came here to LA for this event and brought my kids, drove down, and made a family trip out of it. They also had an Easter break, or I think it's called Easter vacation or something like that.
Got it. How much do you travel? Like, do you travel a lot?
Almost every week. So much so, I thought about flying private at one point. I've done it a few times.
Yeah.
But then it really just crushes me on how much money just gets wasted. I'm also a green type of person, and I believe I'd rather not pollute as much. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'd rather just use that money and give it to someone. Great example of this is I was getting a quote during COVID, and I only started flying private during COVID. Never experienced it pre-COVID.
Me too.
And I was like, I want to do vacations, don't want to get my kids sick, and I didn't know how bad COVID would be or not be. So then I started paying for private planes, take them to places like Orlando and Disney World, and then it started adding up. And I was like, oh, this is really convenient. And then I started doing it for myself when I was going on business trips. Yeah. So like I go to New York, got a quote, $70-something thousand for a round trip, for a few-day trip. And then I was like, man, I just can't do this. And my wife and I were starting to feel the same thing. I was like, I'd rather donate the money. And where it really got bad is we were on a private trip going from Hawaii to Vegas. And I remember on the plane, my daughter said, next time, Daddy, can we go over there in one of those big planes? And she's talking about the normal airport, right? And going in like a normal Southwest flight or whatever it is. She's never experienced it. And the moment she said that, and I told her, Emma, we will do that, but you got to stay in your seat. She's like, no, I'm just going to run around in a bigger plane and play around and go fall asleep. And then my wife and I at that point decided we're not going to fly private anymore.
Yeah.
And that was a switch where we're just like, we don't want our kids thinking that this is normal.
Yeah, no, that's funny because Italia, my 6-year-old, she's flown a commercial. The little one, Berlin, she's 3. She has never flown commercial, all private. And we started flying private same time. Because one time we were flying, and my older daughter, Italia, they told her they were being rude, and they told her put the mask on, and she was around 2-ish.
That's
almost
hard.
3.
They don't understand.
Yeah,
we had the same struggle with ours.
And they said she has to put. And the lady was just rude to her, and then I remember I got really angry, and then my daughter tells me, "Hey, Daddy, it's okay. I'll fake. I'll pretend I'm putting it on, and I'll put it down when they leave." And in that moment, I told Sil it was just a bad experience, and I told Sil, we're not gonna fly commercial anymore, and we started flying private. And yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, it does feel amazing flying private. I'm sure you could attest to that. And it is really expensive. So it's we went through that part, and all of that is choices, and like you have the choice, and it's good to have choices. When you make money, you make choices.
Yep.
When you focus on these big companies, you work only with big companies.
We have some small, medium businesses we work with as well. We started off as a small, medium business ourselves, so we will always help out the small entrepreneurs, or try to, but we do make the majority of our revenue and profit from large corporations. The small, medium business thing, it's more of just fun for me.
Yeah.
I really love working with the small entrepreneurs and watching them grow and succeed and watching their lives change.
So if like let's say me, if I need help, I'm in real estate and mortgage. If I need help and I want to say like, hey Neil, can you help me scale my business? Like, let's spend all these dollars to get more leads for my mortgage company, my real estate company. Is that something you could do, or how can you help me scale real estate and mortgage?
Sure. So the first thing we would end up doing is looking where you're getting your traffic and your leads from right now. A lot of the players in the spaces, buy leads, and those leads are sold to multiple parties. And we would look at that as, what is your closing rate for that, and what's the cost for that? Then we would also look at how much it would cost to acquire leads through paid advertising and SEO, and we would analyze, okay, what would be the closing ratio? Because you've probably already generated some leads that are on your own that 10 people don't have, or another 5 companies don't have, and we would compare the closing ratios. And it would just be a cost analysis. If it would be cheaper for you to generate your own leads and no one else would have those leads, that's what we would end up doing. We would push you down that path. And we could help set up the campaigns, help you get the rankings, create the content, everything that's needed, even the conversion funnels. How do you set up calls automatically so that way it goes to your sales reps? How do they get text notifications so they respond faster? Literally all those kind of things. On the flip side, if it was more efficient for you to keep buying the leads, we would tell you, hey, after our analysis, you would actually save more money and make more money if you just bought leads from the other sources, from those guys who are selling it to 5, 10 different other companies, and that's what you should be doing. So with every organization we work with, the first step is just analysis and to figure out if we can make the numbers work for the company. Doesn't matter if it's a big company or a small one, the numbers need to work out.
Because you do a lot of case studies, right?
Do a lot of case studies, but more so it's just the ethical thing. I don't want to end up charging you when there's a better solution that's not with us. And we need to make sure we vet that, because it's, again, you don't want to just take money for the sake of taking money.
Yeah. And when you say generating your own leads, are you saying like, let's like we'll run an ad on something and then we'll get leads from there? Is that generating your own leads?
Correct. So like, does it make sense to bid on Google for real estate agent Hollywood, or does it make sense to do mortgage broker Los Angeles and collect leads? What is the cost going to be, and how many leads can we generate? Or also ranking on Google. So like, one thing I would do right now in your space, there's a lot of players in the mortgage space that have a Rolodex, and a lot of them have been in the space for 20, 30 years. Would you agree with this? Yeah. They also have individual websites and Yelp pages, right? Mm-hmm. So one thing I would be looking at in your space is how many of those people are looking to retire. I would hit them up on their website and also on Yelp, and I would actually try to buy up their websites or take them over and give them commissions on everything that happens in the future, because a lot of them are looking to retire. From what we've seen in your space, you can gobble up their existing traffic, their existing lead sources and rankings for literally pennies on the dollar. That would actually probably be the number one strategy I would implement right now in your business.
I'm going to hire you after this.
But that's not something you need us for, right? You can just go and do that on your own. You have an amazing brand. I kid you not, it would be fishing with dynamite, and I would go after the cities
Yeah.
because there's Riverside, and let's just speak territories-wise in Southern California. There's Riverside, there's Long Beach, there's Anaheim, there's Hollywood, there's Beverly Hills, there's Bel Air. The list goes on and on. There's Century City, although that's not that much there because it's just condos.
Yeah.
But I would start literally looking for all the cities, and I wouldn't focus on the high end like Beverly Hills. I would more so, and there's nothing wrong with the high end, but I would actually focus on volume. Because if you look at the majority of the transactions in real estate, it's not people buying $10 million homes.
Right.
The money is made in these sub-$1 million mortgages and just doing them in volume.
Mm-hmm.
And I would figure out the Long Beaches, the Riversides, the Pomonas, the, I don't know all the areas, but you get the point.
Yeah.
And there's is it Narco, the Horse County? There's a community with like horse trails
Like
and stuff on your side.
Rancho or
Norco, there you go,
yeah.
Norco. I said Narco. I'm watching Netflix too much. But yeah, if you end up going after those regions,
Yeah.
there's a lot of volume and there's a lot of money being made, and there's a lot of people who already own the rankings and they're looking to retire, and I would just keep their website in their face and give them some royalties or some commission. It's fishing with dynamite.
Yeah. Now let's say right now, I know a lot of leads were created for mortgage companies and real estate companies 24 months ago, 12 months ago, and it was a different market. The real estate was just booming and going up, appreciating like crazy. It's been appreciating for like a decade almost.
Yeah.
Or more than a decade, 14 years I think. And then also interest rates are like at 2.5%, 3%, even 2%, even 1.99 I saw. So now that we want to generate leads, how does that affect the leads? Because if we generate leads, but then these people are sitting on a 2.5% mortgage, like we're going to generate those leads, but like it's going to be harder to convert, because what if they sell now? Now you're going to have to sell them another mortgage or home at a 6% interest rate. And now the market is kind of like this, and they're saying, well, what if property values drop? Do you think now, besides getting leads, generating leads, now it's very important to be a master closer, salesperson, or how? What's your take on that?
I think it is. Sales is very important. If you're not great at selling and closing, you're going to struggle in the long run. But in addition to that, if I was talking to someone who's made a killing on their home and it's gone up, I would tell them to sell. And they'd be like, what home are you going to put me in? Mortgage rates are higher. My payments are going to be similar. I'd be like, I would put you in no home. You should rent temporarily. And then when the market starts coming down, if you believe it, I believe it's going to come down, but I don't have a crystal ball.
Yeah.
Then you go and buy again and you get a better deal.
Got it.
That's what I would be pitching people. Or sell your home, go downsize and save money and go into a different state or a different place. Like, why can't you sell in LA? A lot of companies now allow remote working, and go live in Vegas or some random place that's much more affordable and it's half the cost.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And what about the metaverse? What do you think of the metaverse? Do you think that's gonna affect real estate and mortgage, or do you think that's gonna affect every industry in general? Is that something we have to worry about right now, or you think it's coming in the next couple of years?
I think it'll affect real estate. I don't think it's going to come in the next couple of years. I think it's more than even 5 years out from now. I don't think anyone in the real estate space needs to worry about it. The way I see the metaverse is it's a new place to market. What I really seeing transforming real estate is augmented reality and virtual reality, in which you're putting on a headset and it's like you're walking through the home, and as you're walking within your home or taking steps on a treadmill, so that way you're not running into walls, you could actually navigate through that home that you're looking at, and you can see every aspect of it. And that home could be in China, and you can be sitting here in Los Angeles, and you can get a feel of like, I like this neighborhood, I like this home, I'm ready to buy, without even having to hop on a flight.
Yeah. No, that's good. And online courses. You have an online course, right, or no?
No, I stopped selling online courses a long time ago.
Is that a good business right now for people to have their online course, and do you help people with those courses? Do you? I know you do more of the big businesses, but like, let's say like Ty Lopez had his course, 67 steps. Andrew Tate, he had his hustlers, And I've read and I've seen and I heard that they make millions a month selling these courses. Is that really true? And how much advertising do you have to do for that?
You have to do a lot of advertising. I believe the Andrew Tates, the Ty Lopez's, the Grant Cardones are making a killing on courses. It's not a bad business. I'm not a fan of courses, not because it's a course and you're selling it. I think, selling information, there's nothing wrong with that. I believe that there's a bigger business. So for example, you can sell courses on real estate, and I believe you already do. Again, nothing wrong with that. But I believe the bigger business is making money on the escrows, the fees on selling homes, and the mortgages.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer, instead of selling courses, how do you give them away for free and build a bigger top of funnel and get more people into your ecosystem, and then get more people to be part of your community as mortgage brokers or real estate agents or being an escrow agent. I don't know if that's the right terminology.
Yeah.
And making the money there.
Yeah.
That's what it's like, me charging for speaking fees. I used to do it. There's nothing wrong with that, but I make way more money saying, hey, I'll speak for free, but you got to set me up with these meetings, and then trying to close like a Michelin tire company as a client. There's way more money in that than there is on the flip side saying, hey, give me 50 or 100 grand for our speaking spot.
Yeah, you mentioned free stuff. So let's say if you want to market and you don't have maybe a lot of money to spend on marketing.
Yeah.
Would you say that a good strategy to begin would be to offer something for free, and then you offer something for free in return of what? And then how would you monetize that?
I think offering something for free is one of the best marketing strategies ever. So for example, if you want to do a health insurance company, offer free payroll, because when people have payroll, when companies are running payroll, they also try to provide benefits to a lot of their employees. That's an example of giving something for free and you can upsell something else later. Or if you want to break it down in a really simple way, if you want to get in a real estate space, give away all the information, the tips and the tricks for free. Mentor people for free. Set up masterminds for free, but then get them into your community. They can be offshoots, licenses, brands, whatever it may be. You can do a franchising model and they can start growing you in different countries and regions, and you're making a cut of all the revenue. I just think there's bigger business models than selling stuff on the low end. The question is what can you give away for free? Whether it's tools or informations or software or other products.
Yeah.
It's a great way to build a brand. Look what you've built. I spent a ton of time on your social profiles this morning, and you can do a ton for free.
Yeah.
And you give away a lot of information and advice. That's a great example of, look at the empire you've built from painting homes with your dad. You now own homes in the areas that you were painting. Mm-hmm. And you've built a big empire by giving away a lot for free.
I've been working on a book that I want to give for free too, or maybe do 99 cents for the book or something like that, like Hormozy and other people that have these books they write. My problem has just been taking forever to write the book. I've been writing the book for years, but I haven't released it. And I have this idea of maybe I write a book and I give it for free, and I do an audio version and I give it for free and I have people download it. I just can't, like, I wish I could have an answer as to, like, I'm going to finish this book by next week, because it's not that hard. I just have to sit down and write a book. But my problem is that I keep moving around and I stay so busy. You nailed it in the beginning. I like having 16-hour work days, 18-hour work days. That's my life and I like it. I live a vacation life.
And your wife works with you long hours as well, which
she's
is really
operations
cool.
And I'm more of the salesperson.
But once you get your book, and you asked this earlier, what would you do in exchanges? You give it away for free and you collect people's information. When I mean collect their information, you just get their email address so you can follow up with them. So whether they follow you on social media in exchange for something for free, or they give you their email address or phone number, it's all ways that you can end up building deeper connections with your audience. So that way when you have other stuff to sell them, you can continue to follow up and sell them.
What's the most important thing to collect? You mentioned email. Would it be better if you collect email, cell phone, handle for Instagram?
Just email. Email's number one. Phone, technically I would say phone is number one, but most people aren't going to put in their phone. So I would say email, then phone. And what you can do is you can use, like, LinkedIn has a autofill button where they can click a button and they can pre-populate all their information. Google has a button where it's like they can sign up with Google, click a button so they don't have to manually type in their email address. Adding those things to your forms, either letting them manually type in or clicking one of those buttons and it pre-populates, is a great way to get more email addresses.
Do you have a CRM that you recommend?
We use Salesforce for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
HubSpot is a great solution, and you can do a lot with HubSpot for free.
So when you collect all this data,
yep.
Let's say I have a mortgage company, I have a real estate company, escrow company, and then I have Driven. So some of them are similar, but some of them are not. So when you are so you have the email, when you run a campaign, should you send it to everybody or should you be specific? Like let's say a campaign's going to be for mortgage only. Do you just send it to the mortgage people or everybody and vice versa?
You segment your list and you get really specific. You'll notice that your conversion rates go up and your deliverability stays strong.
Got it.
If you send the mortgage email out to everyone, even if they're not interested, the issue you're going to end up having is over time, people are going to ignore your emails and it's going to screw up your deliverability when you send a mortgage email to your mortgage list. They will start seeing it in their other inbox or spam inbox, even if they didn't click the spam button. The other thing to keep in mind is you have a lot of different companies. If they're the same LLC or corporation, you're fine. But if you're different companies, even if they're owned by you or you and your wife, you end up having to talk to a lawyer about. They'll end up considering it selling information, so you have to end up disclosing a lot of things in terms, privacy, etc., to start blasting different offers from different lists if they're different LLCs.
Got it. That's powerful. What about website traffic and landing pages? Because like I also have an online course. It's called Driven Academy.
Yep.
And it's $67 a month. It's a subscription-based model. So when I noticed that when they go to the website, I was looking at Hotjar. And I could see that they go to the website, the landing page, and before subscribing, they'll scroll down, and then I'm looking at where they're looking, and then they spend a lot of time, and everybody, like I see the recording, and they're like spending a lot of time in one section, and is there something that you would capitalize on that? Like if you see that, is that the section that you want to focus on, or what's the trick? To increase the ROI conversion when people go to the website that they sign up.
So look at where they're focusing their attention on and play around with the copy. Copy is usually the biggest lever for conversions, and figure out what text you can end up putting to increase your conversions. The way you end up figuring this out is a lot of people are just going to leave your site. Majority don't convert. So right when they're about to leave, you can ask them a survey question. Majority are going to ignore it. You can do it in an exit pop-up where it detects the mouse and the mouse is going off the screen. So once they're exiting, you can use like an opt-in monster for that. And once they're exiting, you can show them a survey. You show them a survey asking them what else would they like to see on the page? Why didn't they convert? You just ask them questions. You get that information. You then adjust your copy based on the feedback you're getting, so that way you can drive more conversions.
Got it. And what about like text apps? There's WhatsApp. We have WhatsApp, and I noticed that in the beginning, like maybe years ago, I didn't like it, and I thought they only used it in Mexico because I had cousins in Mexico.
It's just not in the United States.
Yeah.
U.S. people use it, but it's used really.
I'm talking about years ago. Like, because
even years ago.
Oh, really?
It was used globally. It's just mainly the U.S. that struggled with it, because we all use iMessage or whatever's on Google, and a lot of U.S. people don't.
You can iMessage the Droid phones, and then they use the WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So like the WhatsApp, I knew about it, but I noticed that it's becoming more and more popular here in the U.S. now. And also there's another one that I use. It's called Community Text. Have you heard about that one?
I haven't heard about Community Text.
It's where you blast people on via text, but they charge you for every message you send. It's a mass text
cool
texting software.
Yeah.
So I know there's a few of those. Now, do you like those text blasting
yes
softwares? Because they say people open more your text messages than emails. Is that more effective?
It is much more effective. We use text message marketing, and we found that we generate a lot of revenue through it. If someone's not using it, they're making a big mistake.
And those softwares also, they tell you could message people from this age to this age, females or males. Be more specific.
Some of them, if you have that information, some of them will not give you that information because it depends what you're collecting from people. And then you're segmenting the list yourself.
And if you do have that, is it wise to be more selective on, like, you're gonna send this message
Yes.
to only females, to only males?
You should always segment. When you
Yeah,
segment, you'll get
that's
more
key. I don't do
opens
that.
and more clicks and more conversions.
I'm gonna work on that. And what about WhatsApp? What's the future of WhatsApp? Do you like it, and how can we use that for business and for marketing?
Yeah, so WhatsApp is huge. You can communicate with companies on WhatsApp. You can create groups on WhatsApp. But the reason it's huge is a lot of carriers throughout the whole world charge for texting. WhatsApp is free. That's why it's so popular. And that's why in the US, we don't see it having as much popularity as, let's say, some of the other regions, because texting here is pretty much free. It doesn't cost with most carriers.
Oh, got it.
But people are still adopting it because when you want to communicate with friends and people in other countries, it's what everyone ends up using.
And you could have like a group text too of a larger number.
You can have group text with a larger number. You can keep everyone up to date. You can sell them on stuff. It's an amazing way to build a community and generate revenue.
And the WhatsApp, when you give your WhatsApp, you're literally giving them your private cell phone number, aren't you?
Yes.
There's no way.
I think so. It's either phone number or email. I'm not sure which one it is, but they're getting your information either way. It's owned by Facebook. They probably already have your information because they have Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp.
Because let's say if you use WhatsApp and then you have all these people that are just texting you,
yep,
that could become a problem also, can it?
It can, but the communication's great. Without communication, how are you going to close revenue?
Yeah. Do you always give your cell phone out, like, for the most part, when you meet people?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I get to know them. Like if I meet someone for like 5 seconds, no. But if I have a conversation with them and I get to know them for over 10 minutes, I prefer it as a form of communication over email.
Yeah, no, I think most people, they make that mistake where they think some people are like for example, like when I used to meet people, I used to believe they were untouchable and that they don't give their cell phone to anybody and they're celebrities. And sometimes you just go up to the most powerful person that you think and you just exchange cell phone numbers.
Yeah. Like
nothing, but people don't ask.
Yeah. It's there's no need to be shocked. Great example of this is we were vacationing in Idaho. I saw Mark Wahlberg there. I didn't say anything because he's doing lunch or dinner or whatever it was with his friends. My mother-in-law was there. She's like, that's Mark Wahlberg. She went by his table to go look at him and peeked, and she must have made some facial reaction because I was outside at the time. He followed her out and said, hi, what's up, and all that kind of stuff, right? Just because someone's famous or really popular doesn't mean that they're not willing to take the time to talk with you or exchange numbers. People are really open and easygoing. People are afraid to just say hi.
Yeah. Do you ever find people are afraid of you? Or they're kind of like looking at you from far? Like, I know who that guy is, but I don't want to go close to him.
I don't think so.
No?
I'm not really that well known, but you know, I can see it if someone was like Tom Cruise or Mark Wahlberg or something like that, right?
Well, you're pretty well known. But to wrap up here, Neil, social media. I want to get into social media really quick. You have a huge following. You have 1 million followers, over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and you have combined hundreds of thousands on each of the other ones. So like you have millions and millions of people that follow you and they watch your content. You're also on everybody else's content. So in reality, like a ton of people follow you and know who you are. So you are a big celebrity on social media. What can you recommend or what would be your biggest advice for people that don't have the following that you have, and then maybe people that have some following? Like, for example, myself, I have a little bit of following, not like yours, but I have a little bit of following. What would you recommend to people with a little bit of following, and then and people that have a lot of following, and then people that don't have any following? Where do they start?
Sure. So I'll start with if you have none to little. Everyone always has friends. Start following your friends. They'll start following you. The second thing is when you're posting content, that's great. When something does better, do more of it. When it doesn't do as well, do less of it. Use the right hashtags. Use keywords within there. And you can use popular keywords. We have free tools like Ubersuggest that'll tell you what keywords are popular. In addition to that, what you want to do is start following other people within your industry. And when they release content, leave really insightful, detailed comments. And also reply back to other people leaving comments and help them out, because that'll help you start building a community over time, and it'll start growing and growing and growing. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it in the long run. And then I would also start doing collaborations with other people who have followings, even if they're small like yours or very little. You guys can go live together on some of these social platforms. You also need to be consistent with your content and how often you're posting. So you need to post at least 3-4 times a week on all the major platforms, if not daily. And then use your channels. Some of them will grow faster than others. Use your channels to help each other. So you can tell people on TikTok to follow you on Instagram, and Instagram to follow you on Facebook and Twitter, and vice versa, and cross promote your channels within your bio. And then as your following starts growing, you want to start going to bigger people with followings and start doing collaborations with them. You can also, there's some quick hacks you can do to grow your following faster and get more virality. The biggest thing that most of these channels are looking for is comments and engagement. So a comment is worth way more than someone just liking or sharing. Even when Twitter open sourced their code, people were analyzing their code and they were showing that engagements like people writing responses or tweets were much more effective, or replying to tweets, than someone just clicking a like button. The same goes with TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn. The more engaging comments you can get in the first few hours your content goes live, the better off you're going to be. So wrangle up your friends and tell them to leave super engaging comments when you post new posts on these social channels, and don't be shy about asking people for those comments.
Now, when I started, I used to answer comments.
Yeah.
And then I even had my assistant help me with comments. But then it came to a point where it's just way too many comments on all the platforms, and you could spend your whole life just commenting back. And so now, like, I don't answer any comments, which is bad. Should I hire
hire someone
assistants
full
to
time
answer?
to just help you respond, and go in there every once in a while, make sure they're doing a good job, and respond yourself.
So that's key
Every
then. That's key.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you mentioned lives. I think lives is very powerful. And when I'll tell you really quick, when this whole market changed in real estate and mortgage and real estate, it got really nasty. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but production dropped about 80% for most real estate brokerages and mortgage brokerages because of the rates and the values. The past 12 months, 16 months have been very nasty. What allowed me to thrive in these times was my personal brand, my social media, and then also going live. So what I started doing is I said, well, what am I gonna do? I gotta fight back. Like, what am I gonna do? So then I started going live on Instagram. Then I said, wait a minute, if I'm going live on Instagram, I might as well go live on TikTok as well. So then I said, okay, well, let me get a tripod and let me go live on 7 different platforms.
Yeah, once.
So I started going live for 1 hour because I saw, you probably know him, David Meltzer.
Yeah.
I added that to my prospecting time. And that alone completely took our company that was kind of like struggling right here to just going like that. And I fell in love with the lives. And now I told all my sales force, you guys should be doing a live every day. Like how what do you think about lives, and are lives something that people need to pay more attention to?
Yeah. So live content, according to, I believe it was Groithoid, is going to grow 5x from what it was in 2012, or was it 15x over the next, I believe, 5 years, in which people really want to consume live content. And Instagram has seen a decline in live content. I believe the stat was around 16% of users going live, but there's more demand for it. So going live, the algorithms are favoring you very heavily right now because they want that version of Keeping Up with the Kardashians or reality TV. Because Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, they're not just competing with other social networks, they're competing for your attention from even Netflix and television or ABC TV or Fox or whatever it may be. Going live, the algorithms love it, and they'll start pushing you more and more. And even when you start posting content that's not live, like you're just posting an image, more people see it because when you went live, you're starting to build a bigger audience and community from that and getting more followers.
Got it. And then TikTok. TikTok is that kind of a weird one in a way, in the way that it's Chinese, right? It's Chinese, right?
Dance.
But I noticed that I get a lot of good engagement, and it's cheaper. And I also
Much
like sometimes
cheaper.
when something does good, a reel does good or whatever, like I'll run an ad and I get super good engagement, and it's a lot cheaper than, like, way cheaper than Instagram or Facebook. So where do you see TikTok? Is TikTok somewhere that you feel people can get a lot of benefit from?
They can. We even see the cost.
Is it going to go away?
We don't think it's going to go away. We think it's here to stay. Governments may start banning certain things. Some countries may not want it around. But overall, I don't see TikTok closing down. And maybe in certain countries, like in India, it's banned. US, who knows what's going to happen. I think it's more a government thing. But cost to acquire a customer on TikTok is cheaper. Even if you're running paid ads, we're seeing it in many cases around 52, 53% cheaper than Facebook ads, which is massive. It won't be that way forever. It's like the wild, wild west. It's the time to strike now. Even building up organic accounts on TikTok, reach is through the roof. You're not going to get the same reach you would on TikTok as you would on Instagram or Facebook. So might as well leverage TikTok while they're giving you the reach still. A year or two ago, TikTok reach was even better. So, but this is the time to strike. It's still not too late.
Got it. And last question, Neil. How important is it for anybody in business to create their personal brand?
Very important. If you look at a lot of the big businesses that have gone around and done well recently, from LeBron James to Kylie Jenner to Beats by Dre, like, they're building personal brands. People don't like faceless companies. Gary Vaynerchuk has done an amazing job with it. Tony Robbins has. There's nothing wrong with building a personal brand and a corporate brand. You shouldn't just only build a personal brand. Why not build both? Just like what you're doing here with Driven, right? You're not just building your own brand. You're building both at the same time.
Yeah.
And by doing both at the same time, you're going to generate more business versus if you only chose one.
Yeah. Awesome, Neil. Well, Neil, where can people follow you, and where's the quickest way for people to contact you?
Yeah, my social handles are Neil Patel, and my website's neilpatel.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Neil.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.